So what do they say when your hands are so itchy? My hands have been itchy for 2 straight days. What do they say when your hands are so itchy? Money. I'm gonna get money. Anyway guys, how are you doing? It's been a long time. To the new guys, please subscribe. Always consider subscribing. My hands are so itchy. Welcome once again to our Money Matters. It's gonna be a wonderful discussion today. I'm going to talk about something completely amazing, something that's gonna apply to every single person despite where you are, even though title may say starting from scratch, but all of us are basically starting from scratch at some point because you're always starting something new, right? And one thing about starting from scratch is that it helps you know that if anything goes wrong in your financial life, then you can always begin afresh and make things work. So it also makes you know that you should not stay in a bad situation because you always have an opportunity to make it once again. So we're going to be talking about one of the greatest people in the world of finance, Robert Kiyosaki. Some of you expected to see Kiyosaki here. It's just me, your guy, Ken. So we're going to talk about some of his greatest top 10 money rules by Robert Kiyosaki. And basically he tells you how you can start life from scratch, how you can build anything from scratch, how you can start even after everything else fails. And these rules, if you apply them in your life, because I do apply them, I've applied them before, and they've helped me so much. If you apply these rules, you are sure to always build whatever it is you're trying to build, whether it's your brand, whether it's a business, whether it's a new career, whether it's a new job, whatever it is that you're trying to do, you will always manage to use these rules to build it up. And remember, at Ken's Money Matters, we're discussing everything about money. We talk about how to make that money, we talk about the money mindset, we talk about how to manage the money, everything about money, basically. So here we always covering the base completely and ensuring that you have all the tools you need. And one thing I always say is that the mindset is much more important than anything else. As financial advisors, we focus so much on the money aspect sometimes, but the most important thing is the mindset, the behavior, the attitude towards money, the perspective of money. How are you brought up? What's your culture with regards to money? I believe that's the most important thing. And that's why I'm on this journey of trying to promote financial literacy, not just from a financial perspective, not just from a money perspective, not just from a numbers perspective, but generally from a mindset perspective before we go into numbers. Because I know that if your mindset is right, you're definitely going to crunch the numbers quite easily. So welcome guys, we're going to talk about top 10 rules. How can you start from nothing? How can you start from scratch and build up? Whether it's a business, a career, how can you start and build up? And here we are focusing on building up so that it's something that can be monetarily rewarding. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? How can you start from scratch? A lot of people usually come to me and ask me, okay, I'm just finishing school, you know, or my business just failed, or Corona happened and things happened and therefore I don't know where to start. Or basically, I've just finished my KCSE, I've finished my university degree, I just graduated. Or someone is like, you know, I've been working, but I haven't done anything so far, I haven't made anything, or I want to change my career. So the question is, how do you begin from scratch? And we are going to follow these rules that Robert Kiyosaki tells us because we know they are proven, they've been used by people who are ahead of us in terms of financial prosperity, in terms of, you know, knowledge and wisdom, and in terms of understanding the business world. Like I say, only take advice from people you emulate, people you want to be like. I did a video on TikTok that was talking about taking advice from poor parents, which was not a bad thing. Poor in terms of financial aspects. I only said that if your parents are not multi-millionaires and you want to be a multi-millionaire, you cannot ask for advice from them. It's just normal. I'm not saying we hate them. No, I actually respect and love my parents. I expect everyone to do the same thing. But I will not go and ask them about investing in the stock market, for example, because they don't have that information. A lot of us are hell-bent on taking information from our parents, even though our parents are not living the life we'd want to live ourselves, financially speaking. Even if not financially, if your parents are not living the kind of life you want to live, if they don't have the kind of relationship you want to have in your life, why do you want to ask them for advice? So it just makes sense. So I did a video on that on TikTok and it was taken off. I don't know why. They said it was bullying. I don't understand how that's bullying. It was a very straightforward video just talking about where do we get our advice. So today we're going to get our advice from Robert Kiyosaki. And we're going to say, how do you begin from scratch? Number one is having an entrepreneurial mindset. Now, I'm going to use these points but I'm gonna use them to illustrate our life in Africa and for Africans, because this is a mainly black people channel. That's the truth. So I want us to focus on how these things can apply in our own environment. So I don't want to pick certain things that are said by someone in the US that apply in that environment, but not actually work for us. So I want these points to work for us in Africa. I want these points to work for us in Kenya. So I'm not just going to just mention them. No, we're going to discuss them and dissect them and make them applicable to our own environment. How do you start from scratch? Number one is having an entrepreneurial mindset. If you have an entrepreneurial mindset, then you are able to build so many things. You're able to scale up anything that you want in life. How do you get to have an entrepreneurial mindset? It's a very, very important discussion to have, especially in Kenya and in Africa, where the education system is so rigid. You are basically being taught or being drilled to pass examination. Recently, someone was speaking to me who just passed examination. I had the pleasure of talking to the guy from the depth of my heart and telling him that this is the beginning of life. This is where everything starts. With an A grade in KCSE, you may sometimes feel like you're on top of the world, but that's not how it works. You must change your mindset now, and you must start developing a mindset that's not just job-oriented. So he was coming to ask me the kind of career he wants to do and stuff, but I told him, you know what? Don't focus so much on the career you want to do. Don't focus on that. Focus on the skills and the value you want to provide to the society that we can actually pay you for, and the value you can add to our lives. That's the kind of mindset that can make you become an entrepreneur. You have to start thinking of skill sets. You have to start thinking of providing value, not just employment. You have to start thinking of having a big company. You have to start thinking of developing something new, being an innovative, thinking outside the box, not just finishing school. We've been taught to go to school, go to high school, go to university, get a job, get married, have children. That's the life trajectory, especially in Africa. Now we are saying you must have a mindset that is just different from that, a mindset that is innovative, a mindset that's want to change not just your life, but the lives of those around you. That's how you develop an entrepreneurial mindset. When you want to provide value to the society around you, when you want to impact lives beyond just your own. Developing that mindset requires someone to think outside the box. Always remember, how can I provide value? How can I help people? How can I impact other people's lives, and how can I be paid for it? That is how you provide value, and that's how you become an entrepreneur. Number two, you must learn how to sell. Robert Kiyosaki says, if you cannot sell, you can't survive. You will always be an employee because you can't sell. Everything requires selling. He actually made a joke that even getting women for men is about selling. So if you can't be laid, if you're not getting laid, it means you can't sell. If you're getting laid, it means you can sell. The truth is, people want you to explain to them whatever it is you're selling. People want you to convince them. For you to provide that value, those skills that we spoke about, you have to convince people. And in Africa, a place like Kenya, you need to tell people more about what you're providing them with, because they always have options. In a developing country, there are so many options. In developed countries, the structures are already made up for you. So you find that some things are working in a certain system. So if it's a family, they already have a financial advisor. If it's a business, there's a structure in which it follows. But as a new person, as a new entrepreneur, a family where there has never been anyone who's doing business, and you start a new business, you have to learn how to sell, because naturally you may not have been a salesperson. But people learn how to sell. So you need to learn how to sell. Most people are successful today are sellers. They sell like crazy. People like Grant Cardone, people like Robert Kiyosaki, people like Bill Gates, people like Elon Musk. These people are salespeople, or if they're not doing it, they employ people to do it. But initially, even before they employ people to do them, they were salespeople. So you must be ready to sell, and you must learn how to sell. You must become a salesperson. A salesperson understands the customer, you understand the needs of the client, and you can also take your time and be patient to explain to the client what exactly you're providing them with. And then, being a team player. This is something that in Africa we suffer with because we are not team players. We always want to take over the business. We want to be the one in control. So if you start a new business, you don't want to bring other people in. Either they will steal your idea, or you're afraid that they won't do a good job. So all of us believe that whatever we do, we are the best suited to do it because it's our business. But the problem also comes in that most people don't value small businesses that other people are starting. So when they come in, they want to steal or mess it up, and they don't want to dedicate themselves to it. This is a trauma response to most people. It's a trauma response whereby we hate ourselves, we hate our own things. So you find that if you employ the same person in a Mwindi shop or a white person's shop, they will be much more effective than if you employ that same person in your own small business. So it goes both ways. It's both with those who are employers and those who are trying to be employees in these businesses. So we both have some trauma we are dealing with, and whatever trauma it is it affects us in a way that we look at our businesses as nothing. If it's a black person's business and a young person just starting off, you don't give it as much regard, as much respect, as much dedication like you would if you are employed by PwC or, those other big companies, like Safaricom, for example. And also, as employers or people who are starting small businesses, we should know that you cannot do everything within a business. You have to delegate, power of delegation. You have to ensure that there are people helping you and give them the chance to help you, give them the trust to help you, give them the opportunity to actually help you build whatever it is you're building. So it's also always important to be a team player. Everywhere you go, you're going to be a team player. When you're building something up, people like Bezos, Elon Musk, Grant Cardone, all these people have crazy teams around them. Bill Gates, Donald Trump, people like O'Neill, they have a team around them that helps them build. So for example, financial issues. Sometimes people come to me with financial issues because I know what I'm talking about. I know about finances. That is delegating your duties. You can't understand finances, understand the politics around it, understand the social issues around it, understand the economic part around it. You can't understand everything in a business. If you want to grow, you have to detach yourself from the business and let other people help you run the business. As long as you find people who believe in your idea and your dream and they also share the same values. So I hope that makes sense, guys. That's a very important point. And then always strive to be better. Now, this is also something we always need to remember as young people. We sometimes become comfortable. You start a business, it's feeding you, it's paying your rent, it's doing a few things, then you want to relax. No, you have to think of how you want to impact a larger community, not just yourself, not just people around you, but the bigger community. So always strive to be better. Like I always tell people, you have to read books. For example, I read every single day on financial issues. I am always learning something new. I've also mentioned here, I've done so many skills. I've done data analysis. I've done so many other skills that most people don't even know. It's important that you continue learning. Learning doesn't stop. And this is the problem we have with the Western education system in Africa right now. When you come to the West, actually they equip their people with lots of skills besides the education. But as Africans, we took that education system and we made it completely ours, pretending like we know it better than they do. And now we are so focused on it that we don't want to develop other skills on the side and learn further than just the education system. Try to get information beyond what your career is. Try to read beyond what your career is. Try to read beyond what your business model is. Try to know the social, economic, and political issues that could actually impact whatever it is you're doing. So always be aware, and learning doesn't stop. Learning doesn't stop. You're always improving. We also have this idea that if you start something, you have to die by it. You have to die with it. Of course, you want to try something as much as possible. But when it reaches a point where you know this is definitely not working, you need to move on. That can only happen if you continue learning. You're expanding your horizon, you're seeing things from a different perspective, and you are ready to always start afresh. My favorite is seeking mentors now. Now, like for me, I'm a coach. I'm a finance and investment coach. So many people come to me for mentorship or coaching, but they don't want to invest in themselves. Now, the problem we suffer on this as Africans is that we are fearful of investing in ourselves, or we are not trusting of one of our own. So if a white person, for example, came and told you that I want to do finance coaching for you and I want you to pay me, you'd pay them without asking questions. If you go to a supermarket or if you go somewhere, you'd pay that person without any questions. But if you come to Ken, you want something for free. You don't want to invest in yourself. So that way you're killing the small business that's trying to pick up and trying to create an impact. And you're also hurting yourself because when you don't invest in something, you don't take it seriously. So mentorship is important. It can be in the way of coaching. It can also be in a way of finding a mentor, someone who has done it, someone who has walked the same path as you are trying to. Then they can always guide you and they'll let you know how do you actually make it in that field. Some people come like, oh, Ken, I don't have money. They comes with excuses all the time, but they do not want to invest in themselves. These are people who are buying clothes that are expensive. They live in houses that are expensive. They can go and buy some very expensive bags and watches and stuff and wigs and all those things. But when you ask them for 5K to guide them on their finances so that they can make more money, they don't want to do it. You need a mentor. You need a mentor, a coach, whatever it is. We Africans are afraid to seek mentors. Again, sometimes it becomes an ego issue. We don't want to ask questions. We don't want to sit down and be guided. We want to know every single thing. In Kenya, for example, a lot of ladies are coming for finance coaching and not men. Why? Because men have ego issues. The fact is, right now, women are making lots of strides in the financial area than men are. And then one day people will say, oh, the boy child, whatever. It's not about the boy child. It's not about the girl child, boy child narrative. Women are taking steps in finding mentorship. They're taking steps in investing in themselves. They're taking steps in, learning new skills. Now the men are sitting down because they sometimes have ego issues, or they think that they're comfortable, or they feel like they don't need to do anything. So the women will rule the society, and then people will be complaining about how did they start ruling the society. That's the truth. We coaches see it all the time. People are seeking healing, people are seeking growth and development are mostly women. Then do your research. I always tell people, even if you're investing, this is very important for personal finance and investing. Always do your research. It's extremely important. Don't just get into something you don't understand. Like investing, I always tell people, invest in something you know. Invest in something you understand. Don't just chase something because it's going to the moon, or someone tweeted about it, or your friend is doing it, or your uncle is doing it, whatever it is. Don't just do something for the sake of it. Don't do something because it's working for me. Do it because you feel you need to do it, and because you've done enough research and you believe it's something that can work out for you. So whether it's business, whether it's a career you're picking, whether it is just advice you're seeking, or whatever it is, make sure it's working for you. I always say that money is very unique to every single individual. We have our different goals, objectives, investment strategies. Make sure yours is just working for you, and do not compare yourself to anyone else. So as long as you do your research and you're satisfied, especially those who are investing, go ahead and invest with confidence, knowing that your research will always support your point of view and you'll get your returns as you expect. And then become a leader. Leadership is very important. Everyone, I believe, should have certain qualities to be a leader. You shouldn't just be a follower. Nobody's born to be just a follower. I don't think so. Even if you're not born to be a leader, you can make yourself a leader. You can make yourself a leader in your life by changing your life, and changing the lives of those around you. So you have to be someone who is seeking leadership. You have to be someone who is always looking into impacting other people's lives. That's how you become a leader. What is the potential in other people that you see that you can actually improve using your values and your skills? Strive to always become a leader. And this is good for me because now I've done lots of leadership and management courses. I've also done an MBA. So it's actually brought in the leadership component of me. And I understand leadership in a completely different angle. But what I know is that if you want to develop something, you have to become a leader. You have to be someone who can tell people which direction you want them to go and clearly explain to them what you want them to achieve. If you're not a leader, you're not in a position to explain that clearly, and therefore people cannot actually buy into your dream. So becoming a leader is important. If you want people to buy into your dream, you want them to buy into your product. Being a leader doesn't mean being in political office. No, that's the misconception we have in Africa, that being a leader, you have to be in a political office. No, being a leader even in your own family is leadership. Being a leader by helping the local youth community is leadership. Doing your own investments and seeking mentorship is leadership qualities, because only leaders learn. It's leaders who are always hungry for knowledge and for opportunities. So that's leadership. So being a leader is extremely important. It's something that you should always strive to be. Try to always find ways in which you can improve lives. That's being a leader. And then it says you should have what we call a Midas touch. Now he explains the Midas touch using the fingers. He says this should be strength of character. So you must have character. You don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't do the wrong things because you're failing in life or because something's not working for you. You just start again. So strength of character. When you're faced with obstacles, you are always willing to just try and overcome the obstacles the right way. Strength of character. Then the index finger is focus. You must decide what you're going to do, what you want to achieve, and focus on it completely and fully. That tight focus will always ensure that you achieve your goals and you know what you're working towards every single time. And then the one that everyone knows about, I don't want to do it the other way. So this is for what do you stand for in your life? Is it integrity? Is it honesty? What are you? What is your value? What's your core? What's one thing that you really stand for in this life? This one refers to how you manage your relationships. And that again ties into the team player. You have to manage relationships. You have to know how to interact with people. You have to be a seller. That means you have to know how to interact with people and manage relationships. And whatever level, it can be family, friends, or people you don't even know. You have to know how to manage relationships. And then the last one is be unique. What is making you so unique? What is it that makes your business, your career, whatever it is you're doing, the skill you're building, so unique that everyone else would want to come there? There must be that one thing that makes a business unique. There must be that one thing that makes you so unique that you will always appeal to the other people. All the businesses that you see around that have been successful have one factor. McDonald's is one of them. They always have something. KFC is one of them. They always have something that is making them so different. What is your modus operandi? And then that is under the Midas touch. So the final rule is never quit. This is my favorite. Never quit. Just don't quit. It's always a step. You're always closer than you think. It's always a step more, and closer and closer and closer. Every single day you do something, you're always getting closer. Never quit, and always know that, you know what? it will always be okay. You will always get to one direction. What I always say, break your goals into small steps, start and don't quit. Whether it is personal finance, whether it's investing, whether it's changing your behavior, just don't quit. I hope this is helpful. The video is quite long, but it's so helpful to entrepreneurs, those who are trying to invest in this world, those who are trying to change their behavior with regards to personal finance, those who are trying to build anything new. So I don't mind if it's a long video, but I believe it's gonna be very helpful to most people. Subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. Always. Thank you.